The other day I was out playing with my RC truck and I was driving it around in a sand parking lot, but it also had some rocks in it. And as I was whipping it around, it suddenly stopped turning to one side and it sounded like the servo was binding up and it was making a loud noise. So here's what happened. I can steer to the left just fine, but if I turn to the right, there's a bind. I wonder if it's all that sand, if it got in the servo, even though it's waterproof. I don't see any exterior damage. I'm gonna shake it out and see if that does anything. Oh, man, the servo is really messed up. I think maybe what happened is the tires like slammed into a big rock and broke it. And when I took the truck apart and looked at the servo, there were a few missing teeth on 2 of the gears. So what I did was I turned the gears around because the servo only makes a 180-degree rotation. And then I put it all back together and it was still binding up. So I decided to go ahead and just replace the whole servo. I got this VTEC servo off of Amazon for $30, and this one has 35 kilograms of torque as opposed to 125 ounces on the stock servo. It's water resistant and it's also coreless, meaning that it's going to be faster. It says at 8.4 volts, which this is an 11.1 volt truck. The speed is 0.098 seconds, so almost instantaneous. The replacement servo for this would have been $40, and the equivalent of this I think would have been $60. I'll break down the full price later because there are some other parts that I need, but let's get this installed. Getting to the servo in the Traxxas Rustler is kind of a pain. You basically have to take the whole front end off by unscrewing the screws from the chassis. Then you have to disconnect the servo from the servo horn. Then you have to open up the receiver box to unplug it and therefore compromise its waterproofing. And then and only then can you unscrew the servo and yank it out. So here's the new servo. On top they include a metal servo horn, which doesn't fit. I'll show you the one that I got later instead. These parts, no idea what those are. And the actual servo itself. It has an aluminum exterior, and it also has stainless steel gears inside as well as iron rods. So it should be super durable, actually even more durable, I think, than the Traxxas Metal Gear servo. Since the stock servo still works technically, just without a heavy load, I'll save it and put it back in the box. Now, let's get the new servo installed. Unfortunately, this install did not go smoothly at all, and I really should have expected that from a third-party part, but anyway, made for a more interesting video, I guess. I wrapped electric tape around any openings that I saw on the servo to try to make it fully waterproof, even though it says it's water resistant already. And after testing the servo multiple times, I screwed it back in place. Now, because this servo has so much more torque than the stock servo, I actually needed something called a glitch buster, which is just a capacitor that you plug into the receiver. And what it does is it charges up and provides extra power at full throttle. Otherwise, your ESC will cut out using all of its amperage to power your servo. The glitch buster would not fit in the receiver box, and I was hoping to get it in there because then it'd be waterproof, but sadly I had to just leave it outside, and I ended up zip tying it to the wires there to try to keep it in place and putting some electric tape on top to hopefully make it waterproof. After plugging the glitch buster in and rearranging all the wires properly and neatly, or as neatly as I could, I screwed the top of the receiver box back on. Now, even though it may look like it, I promise I did not cut any wires while cutting the zip ties to attach the glitch buster. And I thought I'd try to attach the servo horn that came with this servo, but it was too long and would have rubbed. It's like Christmas every time new RC parts show up. This is where things took a turn for the worst. I installed the new parts wrong, and apparently they were also made wrong. It took me a while to calibrate everything and figure out where everything went because there were no instructions. I had to use the pictures from the Amazon listing. And when I finally did get it all together, this happened. All right, I finally finished installing the new servo and getting everything back together. It did take me a while to align everything properly. I definitely did need that servo horn from Amazon that was not included. It's hard to see in there. Moment of truth. Let's see if it works. Okay. With all the issues I'm running into, this is starting to feel like a Kevin Talbot video. It's turning more to the left-hand side than it is to the right.
One eternity later.
So I finally got my new steering servo on. It was a little bit of a pain. What happened was I had the tie rod upside down and also one of the ball joints in the tie rod was put in backwards. So I had to pop that out, turn it around and put it back in. I had to turn the steering trim all the way to the right and it still doesn't turn completely to one side. I don't know if that's something I messed up while I was repairing it, if that's something that I broke before and I didn't notice, or if that's just the way the truck is, but it's not that big of a deal. I've left a link to the parts I've used in this video down in the description, as well as a link to the official Traxxas Metal Gear servo, which I think is going to be your best option unless you really need the extra torque, because the stock one is going to be a lot easier to install. But anyway, I'm going to take this truck out to the park and try it out with the new servo. Here's the price breakdown. Like I said earlier, the servo itself was only $30, but then to install it, because of how tiny the space is in the Traxxas Rustler for the steering, I had to buy a $15 part that included a new tie rod and a new servo horn specifically designed for the Rustler that would actually fit. And then I also had to buy the glitch buster, which was $8. And this all came out to a total of $57, whereas I could have bought the Traxxas Metal Gear servo for $50. So I think I ended up behind, but we'll see if this servo is really that much better. Not sure why that's fenced off. Now that I know that it's not turning to the right fully, I noticed it, but I'm pretty sure that's just the way it ran before. And if you squeeze the throttle a little bit more and drift it, it kind of makes up for the loss of steering. It is very possible I broke something other than the servo when I was running it last. The throttle isn't cutting out at high speed even while turning, which means that the glitch buster is doing its job. Now I'm gonna head over to the skate park and try it out there. Our glitch buster stayed in place, that's good to know. I beat all of the skater punks to the skate park because I went in the morning. overall, I think the new servo did really well. Even though it didn't turn all the way to one side, I was able to compensate using the throttle, and I'm pretty sure that I was doing that before subconsciously. Like I said, you can find the links to the parts I used in this video down in the description, as well as a link to buy the Traxxas Rustler 4x4 VXL. And you'll also find links to my brand new merch page, so make sure you go check that out. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.